If your emails are landing in spam, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how good your content is, how much you spend acquiring subscribers, or how big your list is. People are not seeing your emails, you're not generating revenue. In fact, I've seen companies lose 90% of the revenue overnight from a single algorithm update because their deliverability wasn't set up right. In today's video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know to get out of the spam folder and stay in the inbox with your newsletter, covering everything I've learned from nearly 2 decades of email marketing. Let's dive in. Let's start with what actually controls deliverability. There are 3 factors that actually affect your deliverability. The first and most important is your domain IP reputation. It's basically how Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft, and other inbox providers rate your domain. For Gmail, you can actually check this through Google Postmaster tool, a free tool that tells you exactly whether your reputation is high, medium, low, or bad. The lower your reputation, the harder it is to inbox. Factor number 2 is consistency. It's not just your sending frequency, but also your volume. If you're sending consistently 100,000 emails a day, and then one day you decide to blast 500,000, that, my friend, is a red flag. Inbox service providers, also known as ISPs, view spikes like this as risky and will trigger filtering or throttling of your emails. Third and final factor is your engagement. How many actual people are opening, clicking, and replying to your emails versus negative signals like complaints. We used to concentrate heavily on opens, but you can't really count these anymore because of all the false opens from security scanning bots and Apple Mail's privacy policy. That's why over the last 3 years, I focus on click activity as the main engagement signal. The higher the engagement, the better your reputation, and the more you unbox. Now, let's talk about my proven delivery strategy, the base sending segment. Unfortunately, you can't directly control your reputation, but you can control your consistency easily as long as you don't do anything sketchy. More importantly, you control your engagement. Your engagement comes down to one critical decision: who you're actually sending to. I found the best way to do it is by creating a base sending segment. This is the default segment that you're sending all your emails to. Now, if you're sending multiple times a day, you also have additional segments on top of the base sending segment for those. There are 3 types of people you include in this segment. First, people have clicked in a certain amount of time. I recommend starting at 60 days. Second, people have opened a certain amount of time. I recommend starting at 30 days. And thirdly, people have recently subscribed, which I recommend in the last 10 days. Now, these numbers assume you're sending 1 email daily. If you send more than 1 email a day, I would cut these time windows in half. Instead of 60-day clickers, go to 30-day, 30-day openers, go to 15. Now, on the other hand, if you send less frequently, like once a week, you can extend the windows out. For instance, my audience-based newsletter is set at 120, 90, 60. Anyone who clicked the last 120 days, opened the last 90, or subscribed in the last 60 days. You can create this directly in your ESP, Beehive, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Customer.io, whatever you're using. Every platform has a segmentation feature. You're just creating a segment with these rules. Make sure that's an or condition, not an and. Or if someone meets any of these criteria, they're in the segment. This works because if people fall off and haven't engaged, automatically move to the side, meaning your list stays healthy and engaged as you grow. And don't have to manually clean your list, it just happens. By the way, if you find this helpful, I share strategies like this every week in our free newsletter. Links in the description. Now let's keep going. Now, having a tight base sending segment will keep your engagement high, but there's one metric that can still tank your deliverability, even if everything else is right, and that's your complaint rate, the percentage of subscribers who mark your email as spam. Most deliverability issues are tied to complaints, and it's one of the more difficult things to monitor. The best chance to inbox, your complaint rate must be under 0.1%. Complaint rate can go up to 0.3% and still deliver, but with a high probability, you have a medium domain reputation. Push above 0.3%, and you can tank your reputation real fast. I've seen reputation destroyed in days, which can take months to earn back. The worst part, Gmail doesn't have a traditional feedback loop, so your ESP won't show your complaint rate for Gmail. So if your list is 80% Gmail and 20% other domains, that 20% is the only complaint data you're seeing. And your actual complaint rate for Gmail could be much higher than you think. And on top of that, if you're looking at your complaint rate as a whole on a campaign, received complaint rate overall is dramatically lower, as Gmail is usually the largest portion of the list these days. This can give you false positives that everything in the world complains is all good. As I said before, you can monitor your domain reputation with Google Postmaster tool. You can also monitor your Gmail complaint rate. If your reputation dropped from high to medium, that's your signal that something's wrong. But instead of waiting for it to drop, keep a close eye daily on the reported complaint rates inside of Postmaster tools. What about Yahoo? Well, first, did you know that Yahoo manages a bunch of email inboxes like AOL, Verizon, Bell South, SBC Global, Cox, Frontier, and many more? Luckily, they recently released Yahoo Center Hub Insights, which now shows you exactly what your complaint rates are. And the best part about it is it only base complaint rates on what emails are actually inboxing, which is a huge deal. Before, you would see complaints on the feedback loop sent to your ESP, but it would be applied to the entirety of your Yahoo emails that were sent that day, not just what inbox. So your rates were probably much higher than you always thought. That's why you might have had delivery issues from Yahoo when you thought your complaint rates are really good. Now, for Microsoft, you can always access IP reputation from Outlook SNDS, which is a smart network data service. It provides a feedback loop so you can see the complaint rates in your ESP. Now that we know how to monitor the complaint rate, the obvious goal is to make sure that people aren't marking emails as spam that often. To do this, you should only send people to people who actually want your email. So that's what your base setting segment's for. Make it really easy to unsubscribe so there's a lower chance of a subscriber hitting spam. You also need to make sure that you have one-click unsubscribe in place. You're honoring any unsub requests that are made. Go to Google Postmaster tools, check your compliance status and see if you are good to go. Worst thing you can do is email someone who tried unsubscribing. That's a surefire way to get them to complain. Also, when you're sending emails, don't use misleading subject lines because if people feel tricked, they'll complain. Doing list growth through co-rev or buying leads, monitor those sources separately and closely because bad leads are the fastest way to spike the complaint rate. If you got to this point in the video and you're thinking, great, I'm already landing in spam, the good news is there's a way to fix this. The first step is to tighten your base setting segment immediately. For the 3 groups I told you to include in your base setting segment, I'm going to go from a 60-30-10 down to a 30-15-7 or even tighter. In other words, only send to the most engaged people. Lower your data acquisition to 25 or 50% of normal volume as we still want to show the ISPs new people are subscribing. We also don't want to waste money for stuff that might not get in the inbox at first. Next step is to identify if landing in spam is ISP specific. Check your reporting segments for Gmail, Yahoo, and Microsoft to see if they're having issues. Because you might be okay on Gmail, but getting blocked on Yahoo. If this is the case, create exclude segments for problematic ISPs and only send to super engaged people from that ISP. This is actually one of the things that we built Smart Delivery for. It gives you full visibility into the deliverability and engagement decay by ISP, so you can catch issues before they tank your deliverability. I use it with all the newsletters that we run. In case you want to try it as well and speak with us, you can also use the first link below for that. Next, you check your technical setup. Make sure your DKIM, SPF, and DMARC records are all set up correctly. Quickest way is to go to Google Post Message Tools, version 2 dashboard, check the compliance status for your domain. All green check marks, say compliant, you're good to go. If those aren't set up properly, your emails will bounce automatically because it's set requirement for now. Finally, the biggest and most important piece, be patient. It takes time. You can take your domain reputation a couple of weeks, but it may take 3 months to get it back. This is why trying not to get there in the first place is so important. And finally, the other problem you might have is your emails are not landing in spam, but in the promotions tab. Promotions folder was originally created for promotional content and bulk email. Unfortunately, newsletters are considered bulk email as you are sending the same message to a large group at the same time. Doesn't matter if it's a newsletter or a sales message. The good news, there are ways to improve your chances of avoiding it. Having strong domain reputation is one way because if you have high reputation, you have a better chance of hitting primary. If people consistently engage in your emails, they'll show up in primary more often. If you're able to get someone to reply to an email, that's another great way to get in the primary. For our subject lines, try to avoid salesy copy. I had a client who used limited time off for the subject line, then wondered why the email is in the promo folder. There are some things you can do within the email as well to increase your chance of landing in the primary inbox. Less imagery and more text tends to perform better for inboxing. More text, less hyperlinks. If you're including ads in your newsletter, make them feel native. Write it like a testimonial or personal recommendation you're giving, not a flashy banner that screams, "This is an ad." Now, one of the biggest tips is to always use unique copy. The ISPs are fingerprinting the content of emails that are sent across multiple senders and it can hurt your deliverability. Next, check any external links in your email for blacklist using MX Toolbox or another blacklist checking tool. If the link is flagged, remove it from the email or replace it with a link that is not blacklisted. Finally, ISPs do not like a lot of link hops. That's when you have multiple tracking links and redirects triggering before you get to the end destination. This is a major issue with affiliate offers and their tracking links. I've seen links that hop 6 to 7 times before it gets to the destination. Even Gmail itself doesn't like when people use their YouTube short URL format, like youtube.be with a little hash versus the normal, which is youtube.com/watch, question mark, a bunch of other stuff, which actually is the page that the video is hosted on. I've been experiencing this myself and hear from others that YouTube short URL is causing issues when it's used inside of an email. You have to remember that your ESP is already adding a tracking link to your emails. That's already one hop to start. Any additional hops keep compounding onto that. You have to use links with lots of hops. You can always create a hop page on your own website. That page then uses JavaScript to redirect to the actual offer link, but the original destination page is your own website. I've seen many of the largest publishers use this technique. I hope you enjoyed these insights. Now, if you're dealing with deliverability issues and want help fixing them, subscribe to our free newsletter using the first link in the description. We'll send you actionable tips like this every week. If you need more hands-on help, we've got options for that too. So again, click that first link below and subscribe. And if you want to see how to build a 7-figure newsletter from scratch, watch this video next.